Sierra, Oscar, Sierra. Delta, Able, November, Golf, Echo, Romeo. Tango, Hotel, Echo, Yankee. Able, Romeo, Echo. November, Oscar, Tango. Hotel, Uniform, Mike, Able, November.
Well, hey guys, NoobieCoders here. Welcome back to part 2 of our creepy voicemail NATO broadcaster app. So I showed you how all these buttons work last time and stuff like that. Let me explain what's going on here, alright? So this is already running. Just going to throw a letter in here. Okay, now watch what happens.
Sierra.
Okay, in our inbox, the user typed S. Now this shows up as the character S. It also could be a number or a special grammatical character too, right? So the ASCII value, that's 115. Soundbite component is Sierra. So that's it for that. So let's jump into the code, shall we? So I'm going to go through these dimension variables rather quickly. You're not going to know totally what they're doing. I'll just make you a little familiarized with them. We have some test strings here. When I was working on the code, I was trying different ones out. Not important what they are right now. When the user is typing in our inbox, right, in the inbox, this is what that string is, the input string, all right? Remember, you're defining a variable for what it's doing. That's very important to get in that habit. The length, the input length, of course, is the length of that string. It's important to know how many characters in a string, especially when you're doing string manipulation, which is really what a lot of this program is about. Temp string is a single character we slice out of the input string, and that's what we do. We take one character at a time out of it, we match it to the soundbite, and then we play it. That's really the essence of this program. ASCII, remember, ASCII is a number, okay? It's always going to be a number, so it can't be defined as a string, all right? But now you can make a string if you want to use it as a string later on, so it's convenient to have it that way. Comma string, I'll explain that later. That's really how we display stuff in our text box. Soundbite, of course, that has to be string. It's a name. Numeric character, that's actually the ASCII integer number, and that's what we match on our select case, which is a large collection of sound bites. Okay, you'll see that later on too. And of course, we want the string version of that too. Better defined here. You'll see why that's important. Okay, so we also have a blank string. Some people don't always do that, but I like to make that I actually like to define that, because, well, what's double quotes? It doesn't always, mean anything to you. You know what I mean? Period string, for instance, I put a period in here. It helps me better understand what I'm trying to do. And of course, the vertical slash, I make that into a string as well. Now, the user string really is the input string, only, you'll see later, I make that in uppercase only. So while the user could type with either lower or upper, I convert the input string to lowercase. But for display purposes, I make the user string uppercase. Okay, kind of a clever thing. They're both really almost the same kind of string, but they're not. Okay, now the next to last integer, that was the second to last character in the string. The mod string, I'll get in that in mod length. I slightly modify the input string later on. You'll see that. Now, start position is basically the index number of each character inside the string, okay, inside that input string. It's important to know the position, the numeric position of these characters as you work your way through a string. Let me go over index positioning real fast. Say you have a 10-character string like SOS danger. With zero indexing, the first character is 0, not 1, and the last character is 9, not 10. If you're not paying attention and you tell the program to look at position X, you're going to throw an error, sure as heck. While I say out of bounds, the correct jargon is out of range, like so. So I hope this sheds more light on the subject of string indexing. And of course, for the sound player, the main resource path is defined by the path on my hard drive. I really wanted this to work as a resource, but the way this sound player is set up, it will not let me use my resources. So don't bother trying to waste your time loading resources in here. They have to work off the hard drive. At least that's the way it is in this case. And then of course, wave path is basically, looking for an actual wave file. ABC path, Able, Bravo, Charlie wave. Okay, I basically took 3 of them together, concatenated them, and made it into one wave, and I defined it. And also the sound check string basically gives it a name for that sound file. And then sound path, sometimes I was using sound path instead of main resource path when I'm working with string manipulation once again. Okay, so the test button back on the forum, when we were testing it, basically it was forcing a test string inside the input box, and then of course you'd go out of there, and then you hit play, and here's our big play routine. Let's go over this real fast. Basically, it's gonna, when you're done typing, or the user's done typing, it creates an input string, which is equal to what's inside that. Notice how I said the input string is going to make it lower, because all these ASCII values are lowercase. It's very confusing to have upper and lower. So the programming trick for you guys is to force it to lower or upper. I usually work with lower though, because that's what I'm more familiar with. But then, like I said, the user string, when you want to display that once again back into the box, you force it to upper. Okay, this is what we use to work with the code. This is just for display purposes only. We will not use user string any other way. Our mod string is our input string plus that vertical slash string. Remember I showed you that? The vertical bar? That's what the mod string is. I was experimenting, trying to get a character past the last character of the string and order to find the end of the string. Okay, I was really basically trying to see if I could put a period at the end of this, would it realize it's a period. I don't know if I ended up with that at the end of this program or not. Just grin and bear it. And of course the length is always -1 of the string, because it's a 0 index string, remember? Okay, character count box. It's counting the length of the string, and it's going to show that here. So if it was 48 characters long, it's going to show right in there. Basically, to play this file, we're going to essentially go from the first through the last character of the string. The first one, of course, being 0, because it's a 0 index string. And the last character, I already said, is the mod length, -1, because you're offset by 1. Index T, whether it's 0, 1, 2, 3, each time it goes through this for next loop, it's going to increment it, right? So, character box items add temp string, right? Okay, I already said where that is. That's your character box, that's your ASCII box, and that's your soundbite box. Okay, so we're gonna start adding. We're gonna add each individual character in that first column, and then we're gonna assign an integer value for it, right? And then of course we're gonna take that and put that in the ASCII box. But now remember, that's a text string. Remember I said combo string? The tricky way to do that is you take a completely different variable and you assign it's like a running tab. Combo string equals combo string plus ASCII integer to string plus the line feed, the character line feed at the end. All right, that's how you do a text box, so you see all the values go down the line. See that red arrow at the bottom of our ASCII box? We force these values to appear to stack in our text box, when in reality, we are appending a character line feed after each one of them. This is why on the MSDN site and in other tutorials, they defer to the console right to show a list of items rather than using the text box. That's just for text boxes. Text boxes are pain in the ass because you have to take a integer and you have to make it to a string whenever you want to show something in it. And if you want to show it, show all the values going vertically, you have to add a line feed each time it goes through the loop. And then, of course, I already told you that the numeric character is going to pick up the ASCII integer, and then we're going to go to letter processors. Let's just jump in there right now.